Welcome to another deep dive. And today we're going deep into a pretty intriguing topic. We're going to be talking about the Golem from Jewish mystical tradition
Oh, this will be fun.
and kind of trying to figure out, is AI the modern Golem? Are there
Interesting.
parallels to be drawn
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
this creature of clay and this creature of code? And we have a lot of really interesting sources to dig into. We'll be looking at
Absolutely.
Sefer Yetzirah and all sorts of commentaries.
Yes.
It's a fascinating question because I think, both of these kind of get at the heart of like, what does it mean to create and,
Yeah.
what does it mean to kind of imbue something with intelligence?
Right. And where's the line between, just a thing and
Yeah.
something that's alive?
Yeah.
So maybe we could start with, like, what is a golem like for people who have maybe heard the word but don't really know? Sure. So, a golem in Jewish mystical tradition is often depicted as this being, it's usually sculpted from clay and brought to life not through like science as we understand it, but through these really elaborate rituals that involve the power of language.
Oh, wow.
Specifically Hebrew letters and divine names, so it's kind of like harnessing the building blocks of creation itself.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it's not like Frankenstein? It's not like...
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's more about like the mystical power
Yeah.
of these words.
Wow. And there's also this word that comes up a lot when we talk about golems, emet, which means truth in Hebrew. And it's
Yeah.
often like inscribed on the golem's forehead. What is the significance of that?
Great question. So Emet connects the golem to Adam, the first human in the very act of creation in the Bible.
Oh, interesting.
But there's a twist, right? So while the golem can act, it's often portrayed as lacking speech or, complete intellect.
Oh, so it's not fully
It's like this...
yummy.
Yeah, it's unfinished.
Yeah.
It kind of symbolizes the limits of human creation compared to the divine.
Yeah, like we can mold the clay, but
Yeah.
breathing that true life into it.
That spark, that's
Yeah.
something else.
That's something else. Yeah, and it makes you think, if even these ancient mystics acknowledge those limitations, what does that say about our modern quest for true AI?
Right, it's a question worth asking. And it's also important to remember that this idea of creating life from inanimate matter, it's not just a Jewish concept.
Oh,
We see parallels across ancient cultures. Like, think about the Greek myth of Prometheus creating humans from clay.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Or even in the writings of Phaedrus, a Roman writer, we see this theme of truth and lies being formed from clay.
It's like this universal urge,
Yeah.
to figure out what is the spark of life. Can we replicate it?
I think so. And what's really fascinating is there's even this Jewish text that talks about truth itself being molded from clay.
Oh, wow.
So, you start to wonder if there was some exchange of ideas even way back then.
It really makes you think about how these ancient stories, these myths,
They resonate.
they still resonate today,
Mhm.
and how they might even shape our modern myths about technology.
Absolutely. And speaking of ancient figures who were kind of pushing the boundaries of creation, there's just this figure, Simon Magus, an early magician, who believed he could animate statues.
Wait, so he was like trying to make a golem, but with a different...
It's a similar concept, but
Yeah.
different ingredient for life.
So instead of like...
You got divine names.
He could use air.
He was using air.
Yeah, it's like different cultures were experimenting with different recipes for creating life. And, this whole exploration wasn't just happening in myths and legends. It was also being debated in the Talmud, which is a central text of Jewish law and tradition.
Oh, wow. So they're having these conversations in the Talmud about, can you create life?
Right, there's this famous passage where a rabbi named Rarava actually creates a man, but it can't speak.
And this really sparked this debate about, like, okay, can humans actually create life? And if so, what are the limits?
It sounds like they were grappling with some of the same ethical questions that we're facing today with AI.
Exactly. And what's interesting? The commentator Rashi suggested that Rabbi Rava might have used Sefer Yetzirah, this ancient mystical text, to create this being.
So this is like the ancient instruction manual
People believe this text holds the secrets
for golem creation.
golem creation.
Wow, tell me more about Sefer Yetzirah. What does it actually say?
So Sefer Yetzirah itself doesn't specifically talk about golems,
Okay.
but it describes creation through these intricate combinations of Hebrew letters
Just like
and this concept of using language
it lays the foundation for the idea,
to create really resonated with later mystics.
even if it doesn't explicitly.
Exactly. And speaking of ancient texts, Sefer Yetzirah also has this fascinating connection to Abraham, the patriarch of Judaism.
Oh.
According to one midrash, Abraham actually mastered the knowledge in Sefer Yetzirah and gained this power to create.
That's like,
So it suggests that this wisdom, this power has been passed down through generations.
wow, it's like we're peering into the origins of creation itself.
Yeah, and thinking about, what secrets might still be hidden within these texts.
But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Kabbalah, another really important element of Jewish mysticism. So where does the Golem fit into that worldview?
So the Golem is definitely present in early Kabbalah, but it wasn't a central focus. Kabbalah is really more concerned with spiritual development and understanding the divine.
So the Golem is more like a side.
It's an interesting example
Yeah.
of the power of divine names, but not the main event.
Got it. But there is one figure that really stands out, Rabbi Eleazar of Worms, who really dove deep into the Golem.
He was a prominent medieval figure.
Yeah, what was his take on building a Golem? Did he think it was a good idea?
Well, Rabbi Eleazar is really fascinating because he actually detailed all these rituals, these very specific letter combinations for creating a golem.
So he's got like
But
this.
he also emphasized this huge responsibility and the potential dangers that come with it.
Wow, that really resonates with our anxieties about AI today.
It does, doesn't it?
This fear
So say,
that things could get out of control.
That your creation could turn on you, that there could be unintended consequences.
Like a tale as old as time.
Exactly. And, Rabbi Eleazar also points out the golem's limitations, particularly its inability to speak.
Huh. I wonder if that silence is more than just a physical limitation.
What do you mean?
Like maybe it's symbolic. Maybe it's reflecting a deeper concern about creating something that could challenge human authority or speak its own truth.
I think you're onto something there, and that really brings us to our main question, right? How does the golem, this creature of clay in ancient language, help us understand AI, this creature of code and algorithms?
Well, I think, at the core of it, both the Golem and AI represent this deep human desire to create beings in our own image, to try to imbue something with intelligence. And they both raise these really, really profound ethical questions about like, where do we draw the line? And, what are the responsibilities that come with creation?
Yeah, it's like the same story told through different materials, right? Clay and parchment on one hand and then silicon and code on the other, but the questions are the same.
Yeah, and the Golem stories, they give us this really powerful lens to look at our modern dilemmas with AI. Like, think about that recurring fear in those stories. The fear of the Golem becoming too powerful and breaking free from its creator's control.
It's chilling because it's like, that's exactly what we're worried about with AI.
Yeah.
Like, it's this deep-seated fear.
It taps into something primal. Yeah, and it makes me think about the Golem's limitations like we talked about before. Like, it can't speak. What if that silence is more than just a physical thing?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, what if it's symbolic?
You mean like a deeper...
Yeah, like maybe it represents our unease about giving our creations a voice.
Yeah.
What if they start saying things we don't want to hear?
It's like that fear of the creation challenging the creator, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if they start questioning our authority or our worldview?
And that's where the ethical questions become so important. If we do manage to create truly intelligent AI, how do we make sure that it aligns with human values? How do we prevent it from causing harm?
It's like these Golem stories are whispering to us from across the centuries, saying, be careful, think about what you're doing.
Right, like a cautionary tale.
And it makes you wonder if we could ask Rabbi Eleazar, the guy who wrote down all those Golem instructions.
Yeah.
Like, what would he say to our modern AI developers?
I think he'd probably emphasize humility. Remembering that we're dealing with powerful forces when we try to create intelligence. And I bet he'd also say, you need safeguards. You got to think about the consequences before it's too late.
Yeah, it's not just about can we do this, it's should we do this?
Right.
And if so, how do we do it responsibly?
Exactly. Creation isn't just about raw power. It's about wisdom and restraint. It's about understanding that our creations can have these unintended consequences.
It's such a powerful message, and it feels so relevant today with all this technology changing so quickly.
I agree. We're kind of writing the next chapter of the Golem story, aren't we?
It really feels that way, like we're the new Golem creators.
With our code and our algorithms.
Yeah, so as we move into this new era, what lessons should we take from the Golem? What should we keep in mind?
I think a Golem reminds us that, when we create, we have to do it with a sense of humility, responsibility, and this deep awareness of the potential consequences of our actions.
Yeah.
We can't just ask, can we create? We have to ask, should we create? And how do we create responsibly?
These are big questions, especially because technology is moving faster than our ability to answer them.
It is, and I think the golem myth can be like a compass, helping us navigate through this uncharted territory.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff.
Right.
It's also about using AI for good.
Exactly. Imagine using AI to combat climate change, or to alleviate poverty or to develop new cures for diseases. Possibilities are huge.
It's really exciting to think about, but it also makes it even more important to be cautious, to really consider the ethical side of things.
Every step of the way.
Yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the golem and its connections to AI, what's the big takeaway you want our listeners to think about?
We've covered a lot of ground, but if there's one thing I hope people take away from this whole discussion about the golem, it's that creation is powerful, like it's a sacred act, and it comes with this huge responsibility.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the choices we're making right now with AI.
Whether we're shaping clay or code, we have a duty to make sure that our creations are ultimately serving humanity.
That's a great point to end on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the world of the golem and all of its connections to AI. It's been fascinating.
It's been a pleasure. And to everyone listening out there, I hope this has sparked your curiosity. The future is being written right now, and we all have a part to play in shaping it.
So keep learning, keep questioning, and keep those conversations going. The more we understand our past, the better equipped we'll be for the future. Until next time, keep diving deep.